Welcome back to another video. Now, about a couple of weeks back, I said that I was very confused between the XC4, the Fuji XC4, and the Fuji XS10, and I talked to you guys about some 10 reasons why I was confused about the decision, and I finally bought the XC4, and I think I made the right choice, and I'm going to tell you why. In 2021, I chose the Fuji Xe4 over the XS10. Now, before I get into the reason, I must say that I have the Fuji X-T3. So, if I didn't have this camera, I probably would have made a different kind of choice, or my parameters of choice would have been different. Not only that, I have the Z50, the Nikon Z50, the Nikon Z6 II, and the Nikon Z6, which is my primary system. The Nikon mirrorless system is my primary system, but I often use the Fujis for travel and for personal work, and I really enjoy shooting with them. I still like the colors on the output from the Nikons more than the Fuji, especially the full frame cameras. But the Fujis have their own use. Now we are in a good position to start talking about my reasons to buy the XC4. Look, the first thing I look for in a camera is how well built it is and how weather sealed it is, because I'm out shooting and suddenly there's a this bad weather. I don't want to miss out, because often bad weather gives you some amazing photographic opportunities. So instead of just running away from the rain, I would like to probably just take that opportunity and shoot a little. And so I'm very conscious about that, and I want to have a camera and a body and a lens combination that's great in sort of difficult weather situations. So weather sealing is important for me. Now, the Fuji XC4 is not weather sealed. So why am I talking about it? Well, the Fuji XC4 comes bundled with the 27mm f2.8 kit lens, or pancake prime lens, and this lens is weather sealed. Now, I do not have any other Fuji lens that is weather sealed. At this till this point, I didn't have any other weather sealed Fuji lens, but I had a weather sealed Fuji body, the X-T3. So when I looked at the combo, I thought, well, this is a great combo because I now get a weather sealed lens that I can use with my X-T3. Now, that's a strange reason to choose a camera, but then I'm looking at the whole package right now. I'm looking at the whole package and I'm thinking, how does it fit into the things that I already have? So a weather sealed kit lens was useful for me. The second thing that I really liked was the flip forward screen, right? I absolutely love it because it's just extremely convenient, and it's such a tiny light camera. This camera actually makes me feel that I can vlog. I'm not much of a vlogger, and I haven't thought about it, but when I saw this camera, I thought this is great because I'm not looking sideways. If I went for the XS10, I would have gotten a flip out screen, and I would have, it's not ergonomic. I think the flip up or the flip down screens are better when you're vlogging, because you're just looking at the camera mostly and not sideways. So I like the flip forward screen, and that was a plus point for the XC4. See, the reason I wanted to get a fourth generation Fuji body was because of the new picture profiles and some of the things you could do with it. I'm not going to get into the details, but there are some new picture profiles and magic added by Fuji in the fourth generation bodies, and you don't have access to that in the X-T3 or the X-T30. So that was something that was playing on my mind, and I thought, what's the cheapest, or what's the camera should I, and what's the right camera to buy for me to access that? And when you look at it, all the fourth generation cameras like the XS10, the XT4, the XC4, all these cameras have the new picture profiles, the new colors from Fuji. Now, one great thing about Fuji is that you can customize the picture profiles and the look that you get. And you can create recipes, Fuji film simulations and Fuji film recipes. and you can create those recipes personally and you can save them as custom edits. Now on the XS10 you can only save 4 custom edits, so you can create only 4 recipes and save them. On the XT4, on the XC4, you can actually save up to 7 custom edits. So if I'm already buying, looking at a 4th generation Fuji for the new picture profiles, I'd like to create more film recipes and save more of them, because when you save 7 or 8 of them, you can really play around with them and see how they look. So just the ability to uh, save 7 custom edits instead of 4 was a big benefit for me. I was looking for that. I wanted those looks, and I wanted to create and save more and more recipes. And 4 was frankly not enough. So that was an important thing for me. Now, when I picked up the camera and I just took a few shots, what I noticed was this: the shutter sound. I absolutely loved it. I don't know why, but it's a very different sort of shutter sound, and you can hear it. And but what you hear is really nice. It's sort of slow. It makes a clunky mechanical sound, but quite pleasant. And what goes beautifully with that beautiful shutter sound is the beautiful look of this camera. Just look at this. It's it's so beautiful. It's flat. It's so neat. It's clearly designed for the looks and less for the functionalities, rather the ergonomics. It's really designed to be a very travel friendly and beautiful looking, sort of almost fashionable camera. People should look at you using this camera and say, wow, that's a nice looking camera. It's almost like an accessory, almost, and which I think is a good thing for a camera to be, especially if this is you're just a hobbyist and you're not too serious about photography. Maybe you do it on the side. You can afford to look at the beauty of a camera and buy it. A lot of people who a lot of people buy cars for that reason. They don't buy it for function or practical reasons. They buy the cars because the cars make them feel great. So yeah, so that was one important reason. I mean, I didn't really think about it that much, but when I was comparing this with the XS10, the XS10 has a grip. It looks like the Z50, and I have the the full frame cameras, and all the Nikons, they look like the XS10. So I didn't want to have another camera that looks very professional with a grip and all of those things. I wanted to have a camera that's slightly different, that's fresh, that gives me a very different, that promises me a very different shooting experience. Now, um, at the same time, it's very pocketable. It is a pocketable camera. You can really put it inside a large jacket or a winter coat. Very easy to carry. You can't. I don't think we can do that with the XS10, because especially because of the grip. I think it's a bit. It's going to be a bit messy if you want to pocket the XS10. If you want to put the XS10 inside your pocket. So this, you can do that with the XC4. And the seventh reason, which you will find very surprising, very odd, is that it's it's an interchangeable lens camera. Why is that a reason? Because if you're going for a camera like this, a body that has this kind of styling, a camera that has a footprint as small as this, this usually comes in with fixed lens cameras like the Ricoh cameras or the X100 series cameras from Fuji. They typically have a fixed lens of 35 mm equivalent, full frame equivalent focal length, or recently Ricoh also launched a 40 mm focal length camera, and the lenses are fixed to the body. This one, well, I can change the lenses. Now, when I want to attach a bigger camera, I can do that because it's an interchangeable lens camera, and the fact that I can get a third party or even Fuji grip that you can just buy and attach here to the screw mount. And so now suddenly you have a better grip. You can hold the camera better. I have already got a thumb rest here. I don't know if you can see this thumb rest. So yeah, so this already helps me hold the camera better, and with that additional grip I think I can carry a slightly bigger lens, no problem with that at all. For the price and for the size of the camera, it's got surprisingly good video features. I mean, it's about $300 less than the XS10, and it's the video features are fabulous. It's got, you can actually output the video through HDMI. You can get, and you can get 10-bit 422. That's incredible. You can do that with a Z6 too. So now you understand, if you want to really want to sort of, no one will do that with this, with a camera like this, but if you want to create a sort of video rig with this camera, you can output 10-bit 422 videos. And guess what, this tiny camera has 240p in full HD or 1080. That's incredible. The XT3 doesn't have that, the Z6 II doesn't have that. You get that on the XS10, but for this tiny camera to have that is surprising. Now, one other reason for me to go for the XC4 over the XS10 is because I felt that the XS10 really could not justify its additional cost. I mean, it doesn't have any weather sealing. It has only 4 custom edits. You know, the Fuji XS10 has the same battery as this XC4, the tiny Fuji battery, and the battery that's in my older, much older XT3. So I mean, that's a bit of a disappointment. I would have liked to get a larger battery in the XS10, and that would have really justified the price. But the XS10 does not come with a latest Fuji battery, and not much better video functions or video ability on the XS10. And at the same time, the XS10 has 10 has the same video record limit of 30 minutes. Because I think it's a better built camera, I kind of expected it to do a bit more, both in photo and video, compared to the XC4, but it just doesn't. So, in my book, the XS10 could not justify its extra price, apart from the grip and the IBIS. And I know a lot of people will look at the IBIS as the main reason to buy the XS10, but I thought, well, if you want a camera like that, of that, I mean, it's a good middle ground. That's why I said that, look, for me, given my context, spend the least and get a new camera, or I spend all the money to get the best camera that I can get. So, but I wouldn't go buy something middle of the road. I didn't want to do that. That's why the XS10 probably did not appeal to me as much. Now, lastly, the XC4 is just a very different shooting experience. To have this viewfinder on the side, I don't know if you can see this, to have the viewfinder on the side, and when you shoot a lot, I've heard people talk about the fact that, people can, strangers see your face while you're shooting street. It just creates some amount of trust, and they know who you are, they know how you look like. So when you have a viewfinder on the side, they can actually see your face. But when you have a viewfinder in the middle of the camera, like here on the XT3, it kind of covers much more of your face. So that's a different shooting experience. The fact that it's so tiny that it looks so beautiful, I can pair it with this 40 mm or 41 mm equivalent 27 mm f2.8. All in all, this sort of promised me a different sort of experience. It's a casual everyday camera. Yeah, but I think most importantly and finally, the Fuji X-C4 promises me a very different shooting experience. The viewfinder is on the side, so, and people say that when people can see your face, they trust you more, and they're not scared of you, and they're less offended because maybe you're smiling and they can see the smile. But that happens because you have a viewfinder on the side, if you can see this. But if you have a traditional sort of viewfinder which is in the middle, like here, you can see my face. So a stranger is looking at you and you don't know who's shooting, you can't see the face, you're a bit worried. So for shooting street, this is nice, and the fact that it's a tiny everyday casual camera, it's just there. You're not too worried. It's not the most expensive camera. You don't have to be too careful with it. That just frees you up a little. And I know that a lot of people who shoot Fuji actually have a first system in which they're heavily invested, and they look at Fuji as this everyday nice camera for personal shooting experience. So those of you who have other cameras with you will probably understand and relate with me more, because I am not looking at the XE4 as the primary camera. It's not the only camera that I have. So maybe the reasons that I have spoken about are more relevant to people like me, and but at the same time, I think the reasons I've spoken about have been about the experience of shooting more than the technical specifications, and which I think should be the focus of anyone who is probably learning the camera for the first time, or just want to be better at photography going forward. Because if you obsess about the specs and obsess about what a camera can do for you, you'll probably not think so much about what you can do with the camera. It often works that way. It should not, it makes no sense, but that's how it usually works. Yeah, and it's got the latest Fuji colors that I want to really play with, and that promises me a different kind of experience. I want to play with the film simulations, the new recipes that I find on that Fuji blog that I forgot. I'll put the name here. And so overall, I think I find it difficult to talk about the intangibles of that experience that this camera promises me. It's difficult to sort of verbalize that, but I guess you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. And if you relate with this, and if this entire video made sense to you, if this helped you in any manner, if you think you want to engage in conversations with me in this corner of the internet, then do like and subscribe. That's going to really help me out. I'm going to share a lot of pictures from the XE4 going forward. Unfortunately, since I bought the camera, we are seeing a huge rise in the number of cases, and so it's been difficult to go out and shoot. But things are going to be better in the coming few weeks, and I think I'm going to be able to go out with the camera and shoot and share those experiences with you. I intend to sort of compare the Fuji Xe4 experience with the Fuji X-T3 experience, and then the experience of these two with the Z5, Z50 and the Z6 II. Also the fact that I have the tiny little beautiful 40mm f2 that I can attach to the Z50 and the Z6 II is great, because then I can really take these four cameras out. I don't take out the Z6 so much because it's just more stationary. It's used more for video, and it's very similar to the Z6 II anyway. So I want to really take these cameras out and talk to you about how the experience of street photography changes because of the camera and the setup and because of the lenses. I'm excited to also fit this 40mm on the Fuji X-T3 and see how that works. This is not the 40mm, this is the 27mm, but 39 or 41mm equivalent. So yeah, my favorite focal length. Yeah, so if you like this video, do subscribe, do like, share your comments, and I'm going to see you very soon with another one.